All right, China, Japan, and the Pacific War. So that's a big subject. Hold your breath. You thought Europe went fast last time, but we can hit the essentials. What we're talking about really is this whole new balance of power situation that occurred, you remember, at the beginning of the 20th century in the Far East, East Asia, modern term, in the Western Pacific. We call it, of course, is west of us. And it all blew up, gradually, increasingly blowing up after World War I ended, when the American-Japanese arms race resumed. Now that, of course, was stopped in the Washington treaties, naval treaties of 1922, when the Japanese, British, and Americans agreed to stabilize their fleets at a certain strength, and so there wouldn't be an arms race anymore. But that was just a stopgap measure. It worked as long as it was supposed to, which was 15 years as it turned out, but then it was not renewed because Japan pulled out. But looking at China, first of all, if you remember back to the Qing dynasty, Qing, or Manchu perhaps is a better term, because by 1900 everybody was calling it the Manchu dynasty, coming from primarily Manchuria, okay, which is the three northern provinces of China. It was completely decadent by 1900. It was so bad that Confucianism, remember, the code of conduct to be nice and all that stuff, was discarded in 1905. The government was so corrupt and could not control its people, could not modernize at all. The Chinese were so backward. So the result of this was a number of Western-educated intellectuals, Chinese, led especially by Sun Yat-sen, whom, in fact, you've been reading about. He, well, the way it's now spelled is different than in the book, Sun Shao-sun, anyway. But he's called the father of modern China. And all the warring forces that have existed in China still accept Sun as the George Washington of their country. And so he has his, on page 176, he's got his manifesto of the United League, that is, the people who were bringing down the Qing dynasty in about 1911. But 1905, this is his statement. Lenin had his, remember, about the same time. Others have theirs in revolutions. The Black Hand Society had theirs. So here's manifesto, a statement in 1905. And this is what he wants for China. Now, Aaron, between your sneezes, do you think you could tell me one thing he wants for China? You're bright red, but you can see through the bloodshot eyes. Good.
Drown out the Tartars.
The what? The Tartars. Okay, well, let's translate that, in fact, to the Manchu dynasty. Often anything related to Manchu or Mongol was called Tartars. Okay, what else? Eliminate them. Well, so what kind of government are we going to have, according to him? What kind of government are we going to have, Aaron? Oh, very good. That's your A for the day. A for absent of mine. No, okay. All right. Okay. Republic. All right. Sorry. It's Friday. Here we go again. All right. Some of us aren't going here. We'll take care of them. All right. So that means no more monarchy. First time in the history of China. This is revolutionary, indeed. This is, and what's the one thing the Chinese, again, we've seen this in a couple of the dynasties, they really cared about more than anything, and he talks about it, is so important to them. Jessica Feldman. What's the one thing that keeps the peasants happy? You're here? You are here, yes, good. Okay. What? Oh, you're not here? You don't know? You're not here in mind? What do you want for the, what do the peasants always want in China? Come on, anybody. With all this, thank you. Land ownership, very good, excellent. All right, land ownership, land reform. This is the one thing they all promise, all the movements who want to get the hearts and minds of the people in that country. So this is good. This is what the land, you've got to spread it out and share the wealth. Hadn't happened for centuries, as you may remember. So it's going to be equal, or as he calls it, socialized, but he doesn't mean socialism, not at all in that sense. Now, how's he going to accomplish these things? Lee, Conklin? He's got a number of points here. Well, actually, in the second half of the page. He talks about steps that are going to be carried out. What's the first?
First is
Government by military law. Now, that sounds to me like a dictatorship. What's the adjective he uses to describe the army in the next sentence?
Righteous.
Righteous? I've never in the history of the world heard that adjective applied to an army, but what's he mean by that? Because then he goes on to describe all that. So what are the things the army is going to avoid there in that same paragraph?
There's evils like the oppression of government.
The oppression by government. Go on, what else?
The greed of officials.
Same thing, yep.
The cruelty of tortures and penalties.
All right, cruelty in the law. I mean, this is Chinese habit. That's why they're not going to get the Olympic Games, and all that stuff. They still do this. Just march up the peasants and college students who cause trouble, cut class and all that. That's it. They still do it. Okay, he wants to eliminate that. All right, what else do you want to eliminate? Kathy Shabley. Go on with that list.
The evil social customs.
All right, evil social customs including what?
Slavery.
All right, no more slavery, which admits it's occurring in China in those days. What else? What? Say that louder. Foot binding. Know what that is? Okay. All right. So this is where the women are, from birth having your feet bound up and all that. Wants to get rid of that, which is nothing more than male fetishism.
I just have a question. What is this word after? It says the humiliation of the something.
The humiliation of the
QUE.
geomancy. You never heard the word geomancy?
No.
Neither had I. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, all right. All right, what word is it? Spell it.
QUEUE.
Queuue.
Right? In the first point.
In the first point, way at the top.
It's the tyranny and tax collectors.
Oh, tyranny had. The Q. You know what a Q is? Our Belgian knows what a Q is, late as he is.
It's a line.
It's a line. What kind of a line?
Just like when you're waiting.
You stand in line. You queue up. Oh. And that means standing in line for food. You're waiting all the time. That's fair. See, in Europe, they know this. They're all starving over there. They're all 10 feet tall. He's a midget compared to the Dutch, Okay, a Q. Thank you. All right, very good. Sorry? Oh, you want to know about geomancy? Okay, all right. It means augury. That's what the dictionary says. Divination. Magic. Reading the guts of animals to predict the future. Astrology. That's an old-fashioned word I now know because I never heard of it. But it means all that magic and hocus-pocus stuff. None of that stuff anymore. And, the Chinese, they had theirs too, just like the West. So get rid of all that stuff. This guy's a doctor. It's Dr. Sun. So that's other things, opium smoking. All right.